I bet you watch a lot of television, don't you? Do you? Do you?
Hi. Welcome to another movie plot. Spoilers ahead. In the middle of the jungle, two fellas wake to a noise out front of their hut. When the one with the glowy blade goes to check it out, he doesn't see anything, but gets ripped through the wall and eaten. The younger of the two takes off out the window, running through the trees with a giant sugar glider on his heels. Performing acrobatic maneuvers to avoid the creature, he does a pretty great job of doing so, eventually jumping from a cliff and losing it momentarily, but getting throat grabbed by the pet's owner, an alien known only as the Commander, who takes his necklace and stabs him through the heart. The alien is the leader of a race called the Mogadorians, and he is chuffed with the new charm for his bracelet. Another pendant protector, John Smith, catches some rays in Florida with his friends, while also catching the eyes of local girl Nicole. That night he sneaks away from his friends and meets her for a swim. When she brings up having a girlfriend, John's leg begins to glow, dragging him under and showing him visions of the kid's death. When the two reach the shore, Nicole runs away and we never see her again. John wakes in the morning with a third scar on his leg and being found by his guardian Henry, who is mad because now they have to throw out all the evidence of them ever being there and move, leaving paradise behind. We hear on the drive that John is a Lorik, whose planet Lorien was destroyed by the Mogs, with only him and 8 children escaping to Earth. When he was 9, he got his first scar after they tracked them to Earth and killed number 1. Henry is a warrior from space assigned to protect John, but John knows he is the Mogs' next target, as the 9 gifted Loriks can only be killed in numerical sequence. Arriving at paradise, Henry takes the two to an old house of his, saying that he has business in the area to take care of. A lizard also hitched a ride with them from Florida before it turns into a dog, which John decides to keep, and names it Bernie Kosar. Back in real paradise, an angry Jane Doe trashes their cabana before setting it ablaze, showing her heat resistance as she leaves. Before attending his new school, John gets the rundown from Henry on his new backstory, and a phone with which to call him on every hour to check in.
I know how to blend in.
At the first day of school, John is introduced to Sarah Hart, who shows him around the halls but walks away when he says his name is John Smith.
Fine.
Just then Sarah's ex-boyfriend Mark approaches, and introduces his boys Kevin, Jackson, Tyler and Max. Being surprisingly polite, but then walks off and shoulders Sam on the way past.
He's in the 3rd year of the best 4 years of his life.
When lunchtime rolls around, John witnesses Sam getting bullied, so he goes to his aid, and when the bully asks for his ball back, John gives it to him. Sarah, the photographer, posts pictures of John all over her website, which Henry quickly responds to by deleting.
Invisible.
The next day in class, John's hands begin to glow and he freaks out. But Henry tells him that the ability is a legacy passed down from his parents. Back at home, John threatens the dog with his new powers, then sneaks outside to see what else he can do by throwing a rock into orbit. Running through the forest, he resembles the kid from the beginning, but produces even more height in his jumps. That night he follows Sarah for a bit, before confronting her on the pictures she's been taking of him. She says it's a free country and they flirt for a bit on the walk home, so she invites him inside for dinner with her parents. John finally gets to see what a real family is like, before going upstairs with Sarah and flirting some more. Interrupting their funny business though is Bernie barking at the window, so John leaves to take him home while being seen leaving by a stalking Mark. At school the next day, Mark declares war on the friends, and is willing to fight Sam but cowers away from John. Sam tells John that his dad was a conspiracy theorist until his disappearance, which is what made Sam an outcast at school. During the spring carnival, John confronts Sarah about the problems caused by Mark, but she says they broke up ages ago, so the two go on a haunted house tour together. Halfway through the tour, John gets jumped by a group of guys who take Sarah, and turn out to be Mark and the boys. John throws them around the place easily but has his flashlight hands seen by Sam. He catches up to Sarah, and when Mark throws a punch, he easily hip throws him and threatens to break his arm, but Sarah stops him. He walks her home and finally gets a kiss, then leaves to discover a new ability to break street lights. Sam texts John asking to see him and reveals that he saw his abilities, to which John swears him to secrecy. He lets him know his father wasn't crazy and that he is an alien, before heading home for the night. Mark's father, Sheriff James, comes to see Henry in the morning to tell him about his son's injuries, and when leaving notices the high-tech surveillance system. So Henry decides it's time to leave again, but this time John refuses and even uses his new power on an arguing Henry. Being his protector, Henry easily defeats and restrains him, then tells John that Lorik mate for life when they find a girl. The next day John receives a call from a stranger telling him he is Henry hostage and gives John the location. When John breaks in, he finds Henry chained up, before a guy tries to jump him, who he easily knocks out. He releases Henry and another stranger comes in with Sam at gunpoint, so John gets the lights and Henry knocks him out. The guy tells them it's a Mogadorian trap, and when one shows up at the house he blasts John away with an energy rifle. A Mog comes in about to kill John, but Henry tackles it and they begin to fight. With Henry being shot and about to get killed, he pulls a gun of his own and takes it out. But before they can flee, the Mog comes back and stabs Henry in the heart, getting force pushed away as they escape. Henry says that Sam's dad was helping him track the other Lorik with a blue rock, then dies on a train track and turns into ash. The police begin a search for John, thinking that him and his dad are terrorists, so he goes to find Sarah to explain as Sam goes home to collect the other rock fragment. Finding Sarah on the roof, John has no time to explain before Sheriff James causes her to fall and John to have to reveal his secret. The two evade the police and flee, and Mark and his dad finally have a run-in with the Mogs at a roadblock. With Sheriff James having his back broken against a pole by the commander and Mark forced to give up Four's location. Knowing he would be with Sarah and that she would go to the school, the Mogs arrive in full force for the hunt. When Mark gets splattered on the window, the two try to flee and run into number 6, who defends them from a few Mogs with an invisibility legacy, and easily kills them. As Sam arrives at the school with Bernie, they see the Mogs release the hounds. And as they fly off, Bernie reveals himself to be an alien chimera sent to protect John. Sam gets the rock to John just as one of the beasts comes crashing through the window, but as 6 fights the Mogs off, 4 leads it away. After doing all he can to evade it through the school, it eventually catches up with him, but before it can kill him, Bernie arrives and begins to fight it, giving John enough time to get back to 6. The 2 Loriks finish off the 2 Mogs with John killing the one that killed Henry. Bernie is still fighting the monster, but it begins to get the better of him with its spikes going straight through his fur. Some good luck sees it slip on the tiles, giving Bernie enough of an opportunity to mortally wound it, and Bernie shifts back into a beagle. Mogs cut the group off outside, so John and Jane take them on, as Sam and Sarah flee inside with Sam getting his first kill. 6 and 4 work as a team with John protecting Jane from any shots the Mogs fire, and Jane doing the killing. John gets the drop on the commander, but as he is about to kill him, one of the monsters snatches Jane and begins to fly away. As John releases the commander to focus on freeing 6, the commander casually picks up his gun and blows John away, with 6 killing the last alien sugar glider monster. The commander gets ready to execute John, and now also has the space rock to track down the other Loriks.
It's fantastic!
But Jane legacies him out of there as John overheats the commander's ammo, blowing him up and having Jane save him with her other legacy. The next day John and Jane touch tips, with the rock dissolving and giving them knowledge of the 4 surviving Lorik locations.
No way.
Mark makes up with them and John decides to bring Sam with him in 6.
He's one of us now.
John promises Sarah he will return after finding the others, and Bernie emerges from the bushes battered but kicking. The 4 leave paradise, with John having never left somewhere without Henry before. And the movie ends. I Am Number 4 is a 2011 science fiction film directed by DJ Caruso and based on the 2010 novel of the same name. The studio tried to recreate the success of Twilight with this film by marketing it as a Twilight for boys. Although it hoped to be a box office success, the movie did not earn the millions that Twilight did. It was also the first DreamWorks Pictures film distributed by Walt Disney Studios Motion Pictures. Charlton Copley was originally cast as Henri but dropped out due to scheduling conflicts. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more.
I have a gadget. Would you like to play with it?